Hello everyone and welcome to my channel where I talk about weapons from movies, games and TV shows and compare them to real life examples. Today we're going to talk about some common firearm handling mistakes that even the most experienced shooters make. Yes, even that guy who always brags about his marksmanship skills at the gun range. So sit tight, grab a cup of coffee and get ready to learn some hilarious and cringy facts about gun fails. Don't forget to hit that like button and watch the video till the end. So we all have a rough idea of what a gun is and how it works, right? But have you ever thought about what not to do with a real gun? Well, today I've got you covered with 5 things you should definitely avoid doing if you don't want to hurt yourself or anyone else. First things first, never carry a real gun without a holster. You know how in movies or games, the cool cop or assassin always has their gun in a special case? Yeah, there's a reason for that. First of all, let's understand why we even need a holster and what advantages it provides. Firstly, a holster helps to quickly bring the gun into combat readiness. Specifically, anyone who carries a gun in a holster has repeatedly trained to quickly draw that gun. So even if you're a tough gangster who carries a gun under your shirt, you won't stand a chance against a well-trained fighter who has honed their skills of drawing a gun from a holster for many years. Secondly, a holster not only protects others from accidentally dropping the gun due to a loose belt or from accidental discharge, but it also protects you. Usually the holster is worn either on the waist with the gun barrel pointed straight down or under the armpit with the holster pointed in such a way that even if an accidental discharge occurs, it should not harm you. Including all holsters are designed in such a way as to cover the trigger guard with a layer of leather or plastic, which in turn eliminates moments when you, for example, get caught on a branch and accidentally fire the gun. Therefore, there is no argument not to carry your firearm in a holster, as it not only increases the speed of drawing the gun but also ensures the shooter's safety. Holsters typically come with a button that secures your gun in place, making it less likely for someone to accidentally or intentionally pull your weapon out. It also ensures that your firearm remains in a fixed position, even during physical activities like running or jumping, preventing the risk of it falling out and getting lost. Think of it like a seatbelt for your gun. Not only does it keep your firearm secure, but it also provides quick access to your weapon in case of an emergency. The second thing you should definitely not do with your firearm is to shoot without eye and ear protection. You probably know that a cartridge consists of 2 parts, the bullet itself that flies out of the barrel and the casing that contains gunpowder. When fired, this gunpowder ignites and propels the bullet out of the barrel, releasing a large amount of heat not only from the gunpowder explosion, but also from the deformation of the casing. If you don't believe it, you can take a cold nail, hit it a few times with a hammer, and see for yourself that the nail becomes magically warm due to the deformation of the metal. So you've fired your gun and not only is there a super loud and sharp gunshot sound that can damage your eardrums, but there are also cases where the hot casing flying out of the ejection port can hit you in the face or even your eye. Ouch! That's why you should always prioritize your safety when handling firearms. And let's not forget about those times when the gun malfunctions and just explodes, causing serious injuries and eye damage. Silencers, also known as suppressors, are often portrayed in movies as a tool for stealthy missions. However, in reality, they are mostly used by professionals such as law enforcement or military personnel to protect their hearing while shooting. But if you're not part of a SWAT team or don't want to spend extra money on a decent silencer, there are plenty of cheap and effective ear protection options available. By using earplugs or earmuffs while shooting, you can protect your hearing and enjoy a safer, more comfortable shooting experience. The third thing you should never do with your firearm under any circumstances is to show it off to everyone. Let's say you're a citizen of America and you have a license to carry a concealed weapon. Initially, such a right was intended to reduce the number of crimes by giving citizens the ability to carry a weapon discreetly. Now, criminals have to think twice before attacking a citizen with a concealed weapon, and even any old lady can have a big revolver in her purse. However, many people ignore this rule and, for example, start bragging about their gun in a bar, telling everyone about the cool new piece they bought. But few of these people have considered that the element of surprise for criminals is the worst thing to imagine when planning a crime. If a criminal knows that you're carrying a weapon and where you keep it, it'll be easy for them to disarm you in a matter of seconds. So if you happen to be a citizen of the USA with a license to carry a concealed weapon, it's better not to show it off to anyone. We've also seen in movies and games how a character with a revolver dramatically reloads it by putting bullets in the cylinder, dramatically flicking their hand to snap the cylinder into place, and then starting to shoot at targets. However, you should never do this in real life, which brings us to the fourth point. Never snap the cylinder of a revolver like in movies or games. In fact, if you look closely, every revolver attaches the cylinder to the gun with a thin rod on which the cylinder rotates. Now think about what would happen if you took a thin metal rod and hit it with all your might in the center. You'll transfer a huge amount of kinetic force to the weakest point of that rod, and the same thing happens with the cylinder attachment rod on a revolver. Every time you snap the cylinder shut like that, the weight of the cylinder will bend that rod, eventually causing your revolver to malfunction and possibly even explode during a shot, sending pieces flying in your direction. So never snap their cylinder shut on your revolver like they do in movies or games. And fifth, I strongly advise against trying to remove a cartridge from your firearm after a misfire. The phenomenon of misfire can be mainly divided into 2 points. In the first case, a misfire occurs when the firing pin on the gun strikes the primer of the cartridge with insufficient force, or the firing pin is worn out and needs to be replaced. And in the first case, it's not too dangerous, but in the second case, a misfire can occur with a completely functional firearm, but the ammunition itself may be defective. So under no circumstances should you try to remove a cartridge from your gun after a misfire. And in fact, we have a cartridge that has been struck on the primer but failed to fire. And don't think that nothing will happen if you try to remove such a defective cartridge, because there are cases where such cartridges have fired even a minute after being removed from the gun. This happens because the ignition mixture in some defective cartridges can burn very slowly, as if smoldering, and will eventually reach the powder charge. I don't think I need to explain that if you try to remove such a cartridge and a shot goes off at the moment of extraction, not only will the casing damage your hand, but the cartridge itself can fly in an unpredictable direction, injuring both those around you and yourself with the common ricochet. To sum it up, folks, handling firearms is no joke and should never be taken lightly. Always prioritize safety over anything else when dealing with guns, and never forget that they can be deadly if used improperly. Remember to never show off your firearm to anyone, never try to force a jammed cartridge out of your gun, and never spin the cylinder like a cowboy in a movie. Stay safe, stay responsible, and hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. And also write in the comments which are the most common firearm handling mistakes that you know.